Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to figure out how to solve a crankshaft correlation code. This would be code P0017 and P0016 after you just retimed your BMW N51, N52, N53, N54, or N55. Okay, so let's say you just did some engine work. Let's say you took your camshaft out, did some Vandal work, head gasket. You have broken head bolts, you had to take everything apart. You go to retime it, you think you have it perfect, you go to start it up, excuse me, and it's popping or cutting out. It sounds like a tractor. This is a #1 solve for that problem. Now, I've done this, I showed this in my old timing video I did here a few months ago, but it's not really searchable in that video, so we're going to make a separate video just on how to do this. I'm doing this because so many people email me with this problem. This is such a common issue and nobody really talks about it, well, except for me, I guess. So what we have here, we have a flywheel from N52, and you can see in the flywheel, oh, if I get out the light you can see, in the flywheel you have many holes in it, correct? So the outermost hole is going to be this guy right here. That is what your crankshaft alignment pin goes in. Now, you're probably gonna have a kit just like this. If you don't have a kit just like this, you can buy this from Amazon store. Links in the description. They're about 130 bucks, 120 bucks. And this does all the N series 6-cylinder engines. Okay, you have 3 different jigs. Anyhow, all that aside, we have 2 different crank pins. This, if you're doing N52, this is not for that. I mean, maybe you could use it for that, but you're supposed to use the black one. The black one's slightly bigger. Let me show you. The black one goes right in there. There's no play at all. Now, what everybody does, and if you take one of these apart before, you know what the situation is. You think you have everything right, and you think you're in this hole, you're going to be in this hole. I know, that's what she said. You're going to be in this one. This is where the torque converter bolt goes right here. And the way you know, and I tell everybody this over and over and over again, in this hole with the black pin, and you put the ratchet on the front of the crank pulley, you cannot rock the engine back and forth. On this one, you can rock it back and forth, obviously that much. It's a lot easier to do that than what you think. And I even had shops call me before, email me, not call me, email me and say, hey, I don't know what to do. I had this thing apart. This is what's going on. This thing is not running correctly. It'll run, but not correctly. It's all cutting out. So that's what that problem is. Now, other possibilities of crankshaft correlation codes are this. We'll go through a list here. Now, if you just had it all apart and you're getting that, you know the timing is correct, you know you have it in the right hole, you already went back and checked, we have 2 other things here. It's a great possibility. The camshaft sensors, there's one right there, and there is one right, where'd it go? Right there. And that reads each Vandal sprocket and tells the car, tells the ECU where the timing is. Those things, for some damn reason, if you don't have them plugged in all the way till it clicks, you have it plugged in, you think you have it, it'll throw those codes to do the same thing. If you go back and touch them and you push just a little bit harder and hit the click, it'll go away. Had that several times. That's a pretty common issue. Also, as you know, when we took this car apart, actually I was just looking for the extras I have on the shelf. I remember now I threw them away. When I took this car apart, somebody had replaced those camshaft sensors with aftermarket sensors. I think it was only one of them was aftermarket. And it's just, those don't work. I mean, they won't turn the light off. They'll cause the same problem like a bad OEM sensor, and so on and so on and so on. The next one is right down here by the starter is the crankshaft sensor. So this is the crankshaft sensor. Looks very similar to the cam sensors, and this goes in the engine block and reads a little marking wheel. And not the flywheel, it actually has a separate little wheel it reads in there. It comes off the crankshaft. So this goes down here like that. That plug could have something wrong with it. It could have oil in it. It could have not be plugged in correctly. It could be an aftermarket sensor. This one is not. Make sure you read on here, you look at it, it should say BMW on it, or it should say Siemens or Bosch or some kind of legitimate name brand, right? If it has nothing on it, it's made in China, and that won't work. Okay, so the next one is the Vandals itself, and the Vandals itself on the N52 has one on each side. They are right under the valve cover right here. Those bolt to the front of the camshafts, and those have a couple different problems. On N52, basically the spring could be broken. The spring is right there. You can see the tip of it. It's kind of like a clock spring. That could snap. This unit does come in half. It has bolts right there. You can take it apart. But that's not very common on an N52. On N51, on the back of it, it has 3 bolts that bolt an extra little piece to the engine. Those little 10mm bolts could break. I had somebody just email me about that. The next one is the Vandal Solenoid could also cause that code. And for whatever reason, I guess they don't return after they advance or the other way around. These are located right here. They slip in there like that. That could cause rough idle, crankshaft correlation code, all kinds of weird issues. Okay, next up is the center shaft motor. This is not very common, but I have seen it. This motor goes right here in the valve cover. That motor could actually have issues. It's not really possible to put it in the wrong location. It kind of does itself. I guess maybe if something is wrong in the valve cover and you stuck it in the wrong location, that could cause that. Another one is the center shaft sensor, which is right here. That goes under. I want to throw that away now. That goes under the valve cover, and you can see the plug is sticking up right here. So that also causes center shaft related codes. If your car is I would say 150 plus thousand miles on it, this could start to be causing an issue. These are grossly expensive. I think they're like 300 bucks, maybe even more. You can't really use the aftermarket one, and you know, that's just kind of the situation. But it's not as common to go out. That goes right there. It could also have oil in the plug. If you spill some oil up here, or it's leaking internally, the sensor's leaking internally, has a seam. Well, you probably can't even see it on this camera. That could also cause that. Now, you have to make sure and torque the bolts that go in the middle of the vandals to hold to the camshaft correctly. Do you need to replace those every time you take that off? No. BMW tells you do. You don't. You do need to torque it to the right torque spec. It is a steel bolt. It is not an aluminum bolt. Also, a broken timing chain guide. We're starting to see this a little bit on N52 stuff, and I think it has to do with the tensioner going bad. The timing chain tensioner goes bad, it causes that chain to flop, and it could break that guide. The car might still run, but that will throw correlation codes also. So, you know, hopefully you like this video. Hopefully that makes some sense to you if you're fighting this problem. So before we go, I'll show you the progress on this car. We have a few issues I need some help on. The bumper's back on it. The bumper's kind of rough. I'll be honest with you, the bumper's kind of rough. And it's got some paint rubbed off. Looks like it's been, well, it's been at Copart. So the back bumper is the same way. The headlights, everything turned out really good. Let me flip them on real quick. Okay, so this car is an 08, so it does have the facelift. There's a few things. You can see on top where we glued all this stuff back in. Let me push that back in. I used that silicone first. That didn't work. Took it back out. I used the butyl tape. But the butyl tape, it's not black. It was gray. You can see it. But everything's sealed up good. I think what I might do, and I need your guys' opinion on this, I probably need to get a new top piece that has a seal on it, first of all. That's not very expensive. They have the covers go over top that's going to hide this edge, and I'm really thinking about doing that. I'll post a couple pictures right here, and you can see one is just like a flat brow, and the other one is like a, I don't know, carbon fiber also. I don't really think carbon fiber is gonna look good. The car is black. We could easily paint them to match the car. Probably got to get some paint mixed up anyway for the front bumper and back bumper. And so that's my question. Do I do those, or what do I do with that? I can't leave it like it is. It's gonna drive me crazy. Other than that, the brand new lenses we did look really good. We have the LED halos in, just like any other car of this year. The outer one is way dimmer than the inner one. It's just kind of the way. It's kind of the way things go with these. And so yeah, let me know what you think on that, guys. And that's what I'm facing right now. If we get everything coated, we found somebody to help me coat it with that INSTA, I don't remember, whatever the coating software is. I'm going to buy another laptop to do that. If we get it all coated, get all lights turned off, the car is pretty much done. We need to go through and buff it all. If that coating goes smoothly, it doesn't cost a ridiculous amount of money, and we don't need a bunch of stuff, I might buy a new bumper for this thing. I might buy a new front and back bumper if I could find them for a good price, and paint them. At that point in time, the car is pretty much gonna be nearly perfect mechanically and body wise. There's a little ding right there, but if we're gonna do a little paint work, we'll go ahead and fix every little thing. So yeah, let me know what you think, guys. That's the way it is. Hope the video helped you guys out looking for the crank code problems, crank correlation problems. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.